Did you ever wonder if the reason your breakthrough didn't come sooner was because God wasn't preparing the world for you? He was preparing you for the world. Chosen One God didn't wait until now out of delay. He waited out of design. Path you are about to walk wasn't stalled. It was synchronized. Every silent season, every missed opportunity, every closed door, it wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The world thought nothing was happening, but heaven knew everything was unfolding. Because this isn't just a story about wealth. It's a story about alignment. It's about stepping into a destiny that was always yours, but only now, finally now, you're ready to carry it. You weren't overlooked. You were being forged. Because billionaire energy is not just money in motion. It's divine order in action. See, the world has countless rich people, but very few carry billionaire frequency, the kind that shifts nations, restores dignity, and leaves legacies that ripple beyond this lifetime. This kind of energy doesn't just accumulate. It activates. It doesn't just take. It transforms. And now, after all the waiting, the refining, the testing, God speaks. You're ready. So before we go deeper, Chosen One, stay with me until the end. This message isn't entertainment, it's an activation. Your soul will recognize every word as confirmation. And when it does, I ask you to do one simple thing. Comment your warmest wish and the number 77, the number of divine completion, abundance, and fulfilled spiritual contracts. Then tap like, subscribe, and breathe in what's coming next, because what's coming will change everything. You were hidden not because you were weak, but because the world wasn't ready to receive you yet. If you had entered too early, you would have walked into rooms that couldn't hold your light, people who couldn't carry your presence, opportunities that would have fractured under the weight of your vision. So God, knowing the power He placed in you, concealed you in plain sight. Until now. And now the instant has arrived. Not a gradual shift, a divine unlocking. The world you knew, it's not the world you're walking into, because you, Chosen One, are no longer entering rooms. You're becoming one. Timelines are shifting. Visions are activating. Doors are swinging wide. And none of it is coincidence. This isn't momentum. This is divine precision. You are no longer preparing. You are being revealed. And when people ask you what changed, you won't say it was luck. You won't say it was chance. You'll say what only the chosen ones can say. It was obedience. It was surrender. It was all the nights I believed when no one clapped, when no one saw, when no one stayed. That faith didn't just move mountains, it built my kingdom. Because God wasn't late. He was building your empire in silence. Now He's about to announce you. Have you felt it too? That shift within you that won't let you settle anymore? If this message resonates, comment your deepest desire and the number 77. Subscribe so you never miss the next layer of this divine unfolding. Let the algorithm feel your frequency. Let heaven see you respond. You weren't overlooked. You are being refined by fire, not the kind that destroys, but the kind that forges thrones. For too long, you questioned your reflection, wondering if the cracks in your story were proof you'd never rise. But the truth is, those cracks weren't your undoing. They were the blueprint of your becoming, because no true kingdom is built in the spotlight. It's built in silence. It's built when no one is clapping. It's built in the wilderness. And Chosen One, you've survived the wilderness, not because you had a map, but because something ancient inside you refused to stay buried. The world couldn't see it, but God did. He saw every moment you bit your tongue instead of breaking your spirit. He saw the nights you wept in silence and still chose hope at sunrise. He saw you when you were tired and still sowed seeds in soil that looked barren, because you weren't sowing into the world's timeline. You were sowing into divine destiny. And now harvest is here, but not everyone will recognize it, because this kind of wealth doesn't look like what they expected. It doesn't scream. It radiates. It doesn't demand attention. It commands alignment. This is billionaire energy, not just about currency, but about clarity. Not just about overflow, but about origin. You're not rich because of money. You're rich because of memory. You remembered who you were before the world told you who to be. And that remembrance? It activates everything. It's the reason rooms feel different. Now, it's the reason opportunities are showing up without you chasing. It's the reason even your silence speaks louder than the noise of others. Because your wealth is no longer conceptual. It's cellular. It's coded. Spiritual structure that now has permission to take up space. And when people ask how it happened so fasty, all smile. Because they never saw the slow seasons. They never sat with you in the stillness. They never heard the internal battles you won just to get out of bed. But heaven heard. And heaven recorded every victory. And heaven has now begun its response. That's why the shift feels irreversible. Because it is. Have you ever felt God wasn't speaking to you, but through you? Not with words, but with waves. A silent clarity rising in your chest. A knowing that couldn't be explained, only lived. If something in this message echoed deeper than sound, it's because it wasn't just meant to inspire. It was meant to awaken. So if your soul whispered yes, don't scroll away. Type "I remember" and the number 77 in the comments to anchor your alignment. Subscribe now, because this isn't the end of a message. It's the beginning of a mission. Like this video, so heaven knows you're listening. What's unfolding now isn't a reward for effort. It's a release of divine equity. In Chosen One, your account is full. So don't be surprised if you feel unrecognizable lately. That's not confusion. That's calibration. You're shedding the final remnants of who you had to be in order to survive to finally step into who you were born to become. You don't need to explain this to anyone. You don't need to justify your elevation, because this isn't arrogance. It's alignment. You are not walking into this season to prove yourself. You are walking in as proof. Proof that faith still works, that divine timing is real, that silence doesn't mean stagnation, it means strategy. Because what was forming in your silence was a strategy from heaven to deliver wealth that can't be stolen. This kind of wealth doesn't just buy. It builds. It builds houses where legacy loves. It builds platforms that speak purpose. It builds bridges to futures you once only dreamed of. And now, those dreams, they're not dreams anymore. They're instructions. So rise, chosen one, but rise. Gently. Rise with grace. Rise with humility anchored in memory. Because you didn't just arrive. You were sent. And everything from this point forward isn't just happening for you. It's happening through you. This is what the wait was for. This is what the pain was preparing. This is why nothing else ever worked, because this was the only thing ever meant for you. So if this truth hits somewhere deeper than logic, don't dismiss it. Comment your soul's yes, and the number 77 if you feel the frequency calling your name. Hit like to anchor the vibration. Subscribe if you know this isn't just content, it's a confirmation. Because from this point on, we're not chasing the future. You are the future, and you don't need to force the path. The path is unfolding beneath your feet. This is billionaire energy. This is divine remembrance. This is you. You had to be hidden for a while, not because you lacked value. Not because you were off course, but because the room wasn't ready for your light, and neither were you. If the mission had come too soon, you would have stepped into places that couldn't hold your power, connected with people who couldn't mirror your depth, and accepted timelines that would have crushed your frequency under the weight of premature exposure. So heaven didn't delay you. It protected you. The silence you experienced, it wasn't absence. It was divine calibration. You were never behind. You were being preserved, fermented in silence, like sacred oil. Every door that refused to open, every person who couldn't stay, every chapter that ended without closure. It was all part of a deeper encryption, because what you carry is not ordinary. It doesn't arrive with applause. It arrives with activation. And now, beloved one, that activation has begun, not because you're forcing anything, but because you finally reached resonance. The friction you used to feel, it's thinning. The fog, it's lifting. The ache in your chest that made you question your place in the world, it was never disorder. It was divine frequency misfiring in the wrong dimension. But now your coordinates are aligning. You don't need to make sense to the crowd anymore. You don't need to convince the world to see your vision, because your spirit is already broadcasting your signal. You're not waiting for momentum. You are the momentum. Every conversation you enter, every decision you make, every room you walk into, you shift the equation. Not because of charisma, not because of strategy, but because you carry encoded frequency in your being. The world may call it a glow-up, but heaven calls it remembrance, because you are not rising from effort. You are rising from design. And that design didn't originate in this life. It was written in the eternal blueprint before you ever breathed. So now, when the breakthroughs begin to arrive, when opportunities seem to unfold without logic, when strangers confirm your inner knowing without even realizing it, be shocked. Be still. Be aligned. Because this is what divine timing looks like. Not rushed, not loud, but right on time. You are never meant to bloom in the wrong season just to keep others comfortable. You are never meant to explain the sacred to the shallow. You were never meant to hand your destiny to environments that could not steward your light. That's why your isolation wasn't exile. It was preparation. The world doesn't need another voice echoing trends. It needs a vibration strong enough to awaken the sleeping ones. And that's you. You didn't survive the dark to remain silent. You didn't walk through fire just to fit into rooms lit by fluorescent lies. You didn't lose everything just to settle for anything. You were shaped by storms for a reason. You were sent with spiritual intel embedded in your bones. And now that code is unlocking. It's unlocking every time you trust yourself over logic. Every time you choose stillness over striving. Every time you walk away from what's easy but not aligned. You are no longer someone waiting to be chosen. You are the evidence that the choosing already happened. And that evidence is not a resume. It's a resonance. You are designed to disrupt what no longer serves the earth. And that kind of disruption requires silence first, because clarity is birthed through contrast. You didn't lose your voice. You were being trained to speak when it matters. You weren't being punished with detours. You were being guided through higher topography terrain too steep for the UNROOTED. Because the elevation you're rising into isn't just visibility. It's vibration. It will require more of you. It will cost more of you. But it will also reveal the parts of you that were waiting for this very hour to awaken. The dreams that once seemed impossible, they are not dreams anymore. They are instructions. The ideas you shelved for years, the whispers that came in the night, this vision that made no sense but never left you. That was never imagination. It was memory. And now, memory is becoming matter. You're no longer waiting for green lights. You are the phone intersection. And traffic is clearing. So when the flow begins to accelerate, when your life suddenly speeds up in ways you didn't anticipate, don't resist it. Don't overanalyze it. Don't ask if it's real. It is real. It's sacred. And it's been orchestrated by realms that don't need human permission. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're rising now. You don't need to defend your frequency. Because the truth is, this moment was waiting for you, not the other way around. You were never chasing alignment. You were being shaped into a vessel that could embody it. And now you are. You're no longer performing for platforms that couldn't sustain your truth. You're no longer auditioning for access. You are vibrating with such clarity that what is meant for you must find you, because your signal has become unmissable. Even if you feel unrecognizable, right now, that's not disorientation. It's recalibration. The identity that was built for survival is crumbling, and the identity that was coded for destiny is rising. So breathe. Don't rush to define this version of you. Just let him rise, because your mission is not to force. It's to flow. You are not here to chase favor. You are here to carry frequency. And when you carry frequency, rooms respond, not because of your words, but because of your wavelength. Chosen one, you are now a tuning fork for those who are ready to awaken. You are not just walking in favor. You are activating others by simply being. And the more you remember, the more the illusion fades. The more you align, the more heaven accelerates. This is not speed for the sake of speed, that this is divine velocity. This is the reward of the wilderness. This is the harvest of ours. Hidden obedience. This is the wealth that doesn't show up as status, but as stillness. And so, if something inside of you is shaking right now, if your chest feels heavy, if your eyes are welling, if your soul is buzzing in a language your mind can't translate, that's your confirmation. You don't need another prophecy. You don't need another sign. You only need your yes. So, say it. Not just with words, but with alignment. Say yes to the version of you that doesn't shrink. Say yes to the mission that can't be explained. Say yes to the life that isn't built but remembered. Type I remember and the number 77 in the comments if this feels like more than words, if it feels like home. Like this video to lock in the frequency. Subscribe so this alignment doesn't just visit you, it walks with you, because you're not stepping into your mission anymore. You are the mission. And now it's time. Welcome forward. The wait is over. You are not being prepared anymore. You are being activated. The ideas you buried in silence, dreams you locked away out of fear, the visions that once felt impossible, they're rising like a flood now. And this time, you won't hold them back. The hesitation is gone. The doubts have dissolved. You are no longer questioning if it's real. You are living it. And maybe you've always felt it, that pull. That sense that there was something more. You never fit in. Small talk bored you. Mediocrity drained you. Comfort suffocated you. That resistance to the normal life? It wasn't dysfunction. It was design. It was divine discomfort pushing you toward the life that was always yours. And now, that life is no longer distant. It's here. It's you. God isn't confirming your calling with signs anymore. He's confirming it with speed. You'll notice money flowing faster. Opportunities appearing bigger. People showing up with keys, not chains. And you'll know this is not man-made. This is heaven released. What took others years, you'll do in days. What confused others will feel like second nature to you. Why? Because you're no longer functioning from force. You're functioning from flow. You are being carried by divine intelligence. This is your billionaire era. But understand this, it will test you. Not with lack, but power. Will you stay humble when your name is echoed in places you never imagined? Will you remain grounded when the spotlight shines brighter than ever before? Will you bless the ones who once mocked you? Yes, you will, because you remember what it cost. You remember the nights you wept silently. You remember the moments when giving up seemed easier. You remember how many times you were ready to walk away, but didn't. That memory will not break you. It will guide you. People will see the success, but not the refining. They'll see the overflow, but not the obedience. They'll hear the applause, but never the silence you endured. And that's okay. You're not here to be understood. You're here to lead. Chosen One, this moment feels surreal because your soul recognizes it. Your spirit knows this is what everything was building toward. The connections, the collaborations, the capital, the clarity, it's all coming now. Not because you chased it, but because you aligned. You are now experiencing what happens when spirit meets structure, when purpose meets preparation, and when heaven says, now. And if you're still doubting, look back. Look at what you've overcome. Look at what tried to destroy you. And look where you are now. Still standing, still hoping, still rising. That's not luck, that's legacy. Now finally, you're walking in it. The version of you that's rising now isn't random. It's written. It's resurrected. It's who you were always meant to be. And the reason you had to wait so long? The magnitude of your mission couldn't be rushed. Your path wasn't delayed. It was designed. And now that the blueprint has been activated, you're not just becoming wealthy. You're becoming whole. You're not chasing money. You're carrying meaning. This isn't success. The world understands. This is destiny in motion. You don't need to force doors open anymore. They're swinging wide before you. You don't need to convince people of your worth. They feel it the moment you speak. Because the energy has shifted. The room now recognizes what heaven has already confirmed. There's a flow in your life now, a divine rhythm that attracts what is yours and repels what no longer fits. When God activates your billionaire path, a path clears itself. You don't beg, you believe. You don't chase, you receive. And now, Chosen One, everything in your life is aligning. Everything within you is stabilizing. And everything ahead of you is accelerating. This is divine momentum, and it cannot be reversed. If your heart knows this is real, if your soul has been waiting for this confirmation, write "It's my time" in the comments. Your agreement activates more than you know. Tap like so the frequency expands beyond your screen. And subscribe, because what comes next will elevate everything. You're not becoming the path. You've always been the path. And that's why everything is shifting, not outside of you, but because of you. The silence you once feared has now become your sanctuary. You're no longer uncomfortable in the unknown. You understand now. It was never unknown to your soul, because the map was never meant to be drawn. It was meant to be remembered. Each moment of surrender, each decision that seemed irrational to others, each time you chose truth over comfort. We're synchronizing your inner compass with divine architecture. And now that architecture is rising through you. You've outgrown linear instruction. You've transcended templates. You no longer ask, "Where am I going?" You ask, "What is rising from within me?" And in that shift, you've stopped moving for applause. You've started moving by assignment. The world still wants formulas. You've become the frequency. And in this frequency, old rules dissolve. Time bends. Provision multiplies. Support appears in forms you never expected. But even more powerful than what surrounds you is what's stabilizing inside you. There's a stillness now, a sacred steadiness, not because the world quieted down, but because you did. The noise doesn't own you anymore. The doubt doesn't grip you. The pressure to prove has faded because the mission no longer lives in the future. It lives in your presence. Your presence has become the proof, and every moment you stand rooted in that truth. You're not just embodying purpose, you're echoing permission to others, silently waiting to rise. You're not here to shout, you're here to shift. To walk with such congruence that those around you begin to question the lies they were taught to believe. To breathe in such rhythm that timelines recalibrate just to keep pace with your energy. You are not lost. You are not ahead or behind. You are precisely where divine momentum flows because you've stopped resisting the design. This is your alignment. This is your release. If you feel this deep in your bones, type "I am aligned" and the number 77 in the comments. Like this message to seal your resonance. Subscribe if your spirit recognizes this space as home, because what's unfolding next will not be revealed, it will be embodied. You're not chasing destiny anymore. You are the current it travels through. Welcome to your mission. Chosen one, you've already begun. What looked like a delay was actually a design. What felt like a prison was actually preparation. Every moment of silence, every door that didn't open, every opportunity that slipped away was never rejection. It was redirection, because you weren't being punished. You were being positioned. And now, chosen one, the blueprint you were born with is no longer dormant. It's activated. You are not just stepping into wealth. You are stepping into who you've always been. For too long, the world told you to shrink. To be realistic. To stay small. To settle. But something inside you refused. That voice, the one that wouldn't let you compromise. It wasn't pride. It was prophecy. It was the sacred whisper of God saying, hold on. Not yet, but soon. And now soon has become now. You're not entering success like everyone else. You're entering destiny. And there's a difference. Success can be forced. Destiny must be followed. You are not forcing open doors. They are swinging for you. You are not chasing validation. You are walking in vibration. Because divine timing isn't passive. It's precise. Now the right conversations are appearing. The right people are arriving. The right invitations are finding you without effort. And it feels surreal because you're not used to ease. You've been trained by struggle. You've been conditioned by delay. But that conditioning is breaking now because the frequency you now carry, it only responds to alignment. The old cycles can't follow you. The fear, the self-sabotage, the hesitation, they're shedding like dead skin. The version of you that survived cannot survive the frequency you're rising into. And yes, it feels uncomfortable because growth always does. Your nervous system is adjusting. Your identity is upgrading. You're not broken. You're ascending. And some people, they won't recognize you anymore. They'll say you changed. They'll say you're different. And they'll be right. Because you were never meant to stay where they met you. You were meant to evolve. To expand. To elevate. Them question. Let them wonder how it happened so fast. They didn't see the nights you prayed through tears. They didn't hear your silent pleas asking if God still remembered your name. But He did. He always did. He wasn't waiting for you to be perfect. He was waiting for you to be ready. And now you are. This billionaire path is not a fantasy. It's a frequency. And you've tuned into it. Now, every word you speak carries weight. Every move you make produces momentum. Every intention you set manifests quickly because you're no longer moving against the current. You're flowing with it. Breakthroughs will come suddenly. Reversals will be divine. Opportunities will appear out of nowhere, not by coincidence, not by covenant. Because only you know what it cost to get here. Only you know the nights that broke you and built you at the same time. And now, you're being compensated not just with money, but with meaning. Your past isn't a liability. Your leverage. Your pain now becomes the pulse of your purpose. Your scars now shine as symbols of sacred survival. Your story now serves as someone else's rescue plan. You are not glowing up. You are being revealed. This is not fame. It's fulfillment. This is not applause. It's alignment. The vaults of heaven are open now. Favor is following you. Peace is returning. Order is being restored. And don't be surprised when your name is spoken in rooms you've never entered. When messages come in that seem too good to be true. When provision starts chasing you. That's what happens when divine momentum takes over. The promises of your life are no longer in delay. They're in delivery. So don't minimize yourself now. Don't shrink to be understood. You are never meant to fit. You are built to shift. You're not a reaction. You are a revelation. And now, The realm you've entered carries laws that defy logic. Provision no longer needs a pitch. Miracles no longer need permission. This is not just the next season. It's a new system. You are not in transition. You have crossed over. The delays are dismantled. The detours are done. This is divine execution. If you feel this truth burning in your bones, if your spirit knows this is your moment, comment, "I have crossed over." Not for validation, for vibration. Your agreement is your activation. And while you're here, like this video, subscribe, and prepare for what's next. Because what's next is legacy. Chosen one, you're no longer waiting. You're walking. No longer hesitating. You're embodying. No longer dreaming. You're delivering. Everything that once felt distant, impossible, or too good to be true is now your daily reality. But here's what makes this different. This isn't just money. This isn't about riches locked in a vault. This is sacred wealth alive in you. You are not just attracting abundance. You are activating it in every room you enter. When you speak, something breaks. When you move, something shifts. When you decide, realms respond. This is spiritual authority. Not noise. Not hype. But frequency. Because God didn't just give you provision. He gave you permission. He didn't just release finances. He released function. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are the evidence of what divine favor looks like in motion. And with that comes weight. Yes, influence will grow. Yes, doors will open. Yes, nations will notice. But the greatest shift will happen in you. You will no longer seek validation. You will no longer carry the pressure to prove. You will no longer entertain conversations beneath your calling. You have matured into mastery. You have been forged into focus. And now you walk in knowing. The kind of knowing that silences comparison. The kind that doesn't ask, "Why me?" but declares, "Of course me." Because God didn't wait this long to give you something shallow. He waited to give you something sustainable. He didn't preserve you for applause. He preserved you for impact. The kind of impact that redefines what legacy looks like. That teaches future generations what wealth with purity feels like. That builds systems of justice, healing, creativity, and hope through your leadership. This billionaire path isn't about empire. It's about embodiment. You are wealth. You are the miracle. You are the moment others had been praying for. And from this day forward, that's how you walk, with clarity, with conviction. With calm power. Because you don't chase energy anymore. You are the energy. And yes, there will be those who doubt, those who try to categorize your rise, reduce it to luck, dismiss it as coincidence. Let them talk. Let them speculate, because no one can copy the process that shaped you. No one can counterfeit what heaven handcrafted. Didn't climb over others to get here. You rose from within. You didn't manipulate outcomes. You magnified your calling. And now, you don't just hold wealth. You transmit transformation. Your life isn't a brand. It's a blueprint. You are the first of your kind, a sacred pioneer, a vessel of vision, a carrier of kingdom. Economy. Confirm this frequency. Nothing is withheld. Creativity flows. Solutions emerge. Ideas come effortlessly. Because you're not disconnected from source. You are in sync with heaven. And now, there is no more ceiling. Only sky. And even the sky knows your name. So walk differently. Decide differently. Lead differently. You are no longer living under delay. You are moving with divine acceleration. And this movement? It's not forced. It's favored. This wealth doesn't exhaust you. It energizes you. It doesn't isolate you. Connects you to divine assignments. Because when God releases wealth, He also releases responsibility. And He now trusts you with both. So if this resonates, if you feel the undeniable shift within, type this in the comments. I don't chase wealth. I carry it. Let heaven witness your agreement. Tap like if this message unlocked something. And subscribe, because your journey is just beginning and the next chapter. It's not growth. It's governance. You are never meant to be understood by this world. And now, as everything begins to shift without your permission, without warning, without noise, you are beginning to feel it. That low hum of sacred alignment pulsing beneath your chest. Not panic, not fear, but a quiet thunder. A trembling certainty that cannot be explained, only lived. There will be no trumpet, no applause, no grand announcement. Because this part of the journey, this final unraveling, doesn't require external validation. It only requires your yes. This stillness you feel isn't emptiness. It's readiness. The veil that once covered your memory is thinned. And now, beloved one, your soul is stirring, not because something is coming, but because something has arrived. You are not waiting anymore. You are walking, not toward the mission. As the mission. Every cell in your body is vibrating with codes that time never erased, only concealed. You have carried them through lifetimes, through battles, through the silence of exile. And now they are awakening. You are not learning anything new. You are remembering what was always yours. And the world? It won't understand. But that's okay, because your path was never meant to be recognized by the system. It was meant to redefine it. You are no longer asking for signs. You are becoming one. You are no longer waiting for confirmation. You are the confirmation. And yes, there will still be moments where your humanity trembles. But don't mistake that trembling for weakness. It is sacred shaking. It is your old self falling away. It is your soul expanding beyond the identity you had to wear to survive. Because now survival is no longer your assignment. Sovereignty is. This next version of you won't be explained in words. It will be felt in rooms. Heard in silences. Seen in shifts you don't announce, but can't hide. You will begin to notice how certain conversations drain you instantly. How some rooms feel too small. How the masks others wear begin to disintegrate in your presence. Not because you expose them, but because your truth makes hiding impossible. And those who once tried to define you by your delay, they'll witness your delivery, not as spectacle. But as sacred inevitability. Because what's unfolding now is not success. It's fulfillment. And fulfillment can't be copied. It can't be rushed. It can only be lived by those who surrendered. Everything in silence can still stood tall when the world gave them nothing to lean on. You did not come this far to hesitate at the edge. You did not endure all that fire to dim your light. Now, the very thing you feared would break you was the thing that blessed you, not with ease, but with evolution. It burned away. Your need to please. It peeled off the labels that never belonged. It brought you to your knees, not for defeat, but for download. And what downloaded in that stillness was destiny. You are now a vessel that can hold the voltage. And because of that, because you stayed when others fled, because you kept walking when the road disappeared, you are no longer being trained. You are being trusted. That's why the silence is over, not with noise, but with movement. Not dramatic motion, but divine momentum. The kind of shift that doesn't beg for attention. It demands alignment. People will ask, what happened to you? Why do you feel so different? And you won't have to say a word, because your frequency will answer. You've entered a realm where explanations are no longer required. Only embodiment, only resonance. You don't need to tell the world who you are anymore. You become it. And those who once dismissed your delays, they will study your stillness, not because you sought their applause, but because your silence birthed something they can't ignore. You are no longer in waiting. You are in walking prophecy. You don't chase timelines now. You bend them. You don't SEEK entry anymore. You carry the doorway. And with every step forward, the mission that was once hidden encrypted in your suffering, veiled behind your vulnerability, begins to reveal itself. Not as an idea, not as a strategy, but as your very presence. You are the revelation. You are the one the ancestors prayed would rise. You are the blueprint they tried to bury. You are the sound that silences lies. A breath that stirs remembrance. A interruption the system never saw coming. And it's not because you're better, Dot. It's because you remembered, Dot. And now that memory is becoming motion. And that motion cannot be stopped. You're not in transition. You've already arrived, Dot. So let this be your final release. Release the need to explain, Dot. Release the urge to be understood, Dot. Release the fear that you'll outgrow what once felt safe, because you will outgrow it. You already have, Dot, and the moment you embrace that, the doors will no longer creak open. They'll disintegrate, Dot. The opportunities will no longer be chased. They will recognize your name. The visions will no longer taunt you, Dot. They will become your reality, because you are not just receiving a mission. You are the frequency that activates it, Dot. So if your bones are burning with a yes, if your spirit is roaring beneath your skin, don't silence it this time, Dot. Speak, Dot. Write it in the comments. Whisper it in your breath. Declare it in your walk, Dot. Say, I remember, I'm ready, I agree. Because your agreement isn't just symbolic, Dot. It is spiritual permission. And once you give it, nothing will stop what comes next, Dot. So welcome to the unveiling, Dot. Welcome to the inheritance. Welcome to the alignment that doesn't shout, it resonates, Dot. This is not the beginning. This is the remembering. You are never lost. You are encrypted. Now you are being released, Dot. Welcome home, Dot. Welcome forward, Dot. Welcome to the mission.